Hey everyone, my name is Scott Allen. I am the CEO for the Family Medicine Education Consortium. I've been with the Family Medicine Education Consortium for about 2.5 years. This will be my third meeting, so I'm super excited to meet all of you in a couple weeks in Philadelphia. I'm going to have my colleague Jennifer introduce herself and then jump into the presentation. And we have a couple special guests online as well who are going to talk about their experiences at the FMEC. Please feel free to use the chat for questions. And if you're not on talking or asking questions verbally, make sure to mute yourself. So Jennifer, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Stamper. I've been the Student Scholarship Coordinator since 2008. So I'm on my 24th year with no, that's not right. 18 years with the FMEC. Really excited to be here. I'm really excited to see some of the names joining us tonight. So I'm excited to tell you about the scholarship program and what you need to do to get oriented for the conference.
Great. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and go through a couple quick slides. So welcome. Our theme for the meeting this year is we've got heart, we've got grit, we are family medicine. And heart is a reference to the love statue in Philadelphia, and grit is a reference to Gritty, the Philly Fanatics mascot. But basically, we're excited to be there. It's a great place in terms of the birth of medicine. Lots of medical schools were founded there. Lots of physicians have gone through training there. So we're excited to be back in Philadelphia in September. You can go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Just put in your name, your school, and what year you are. And then during the question and answer period at the end, feel free to unmute and ask questions, but you can also stick them in the chat at any time. Just a quick couple thoughts about what the FMEC is for those of you who are not familiar. We are a regional organization that was founded as a regional group of the Society of Teachers of Family Medicine. But we've been around for 30 plus years and doing this meeting just about as long. We are a catalyst, convener, and incubator, and we connect family physicians and other stakeholders together to improve the health of communities by strengthening family medicine, primary care, and medical education. Our biggest activity is the annual meeting, which has about 1,000 people coming every year. But we also do awards, learning communities, quality improvement projects, periodic educational webinars, things like that. Really just helping medical students learn about family medicine, residents in training do scholarly work and expand their educational experience through us, and faculty at the family medicine residency training programs connect with each other and learn from each other. We serve the Northeast region of the US. It's 14 states and DC, and there's a little map on your screen. Nearly all of you who are coming on scholarship are from that region because that's what we do with our scholarship monies we raise. And again, our goals are really pretty simple: help medical students learn about family medicine and primary care, and hopefully choose that direction for their career. Support residents as they're learning, but also as they move into their careers. Help the residency programs connect with each other and learn. Do quality improvement projects, both around clinical issues, but also around helping family medicine residency programs teach better and have their residents learn better. And then really look at innovations in primary care to see what we can help spread. These are just some pictures from our annual meetings of the past. They're really fun. They're really exciting. There's a lot of networking going on. And with that, I want to introduce a guest or two that may be able to join us and talk a little bit about their experience at the annual meeting. First, I've got Dr. Taylor Ryder, who is a resident, and she's the resident member of the FMEC board. So Taylor, if you want to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about what the FMEC meeting has meant for you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. This is so exciting. I see a good mix, primarily M4s, which I expect at a meeting like this with a residency fair, but I also see a good mix of M2s and M3s, which makes me so excited. Personally, the FMEC is what brought me to family medicine. I originally thought I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, and like enough so that I got a scalpel tattooed on my arm. And then I attended this conference as a third-year medical student on invite from another program to present a poster, and ended up just falling in love, not only with the organization, but with the specialty. So I hope that you guys are able to experience a lot of that at this conference. I think the biggest piece of advice I could give you is come with an open mind. For For those that are anticipating talking to a lot of programs at the residency fair, I would recommend having a good list of those that you know you want to talk to, but don't hesitate to stop at all of the tables because you might just find something that you weren't expecting. Like Scott said, I am a resident at UPMC Williamsport. Happy to talk to you guys all about the application process or anything else you might need in the process. You'll see Hannah and I at the conference, so please don't hesitate to stop and say hi.
Great. Thank you, Taylor. And I don't see Hannah on yet, but I do see Dr. Marguerite Duane, who is a past board member of the FMEC. And Marguerite, I know you just joined. Are you ready to say a couple words about the FMEC to these students and what's exciting about it for you?
Yeah, and first of all, I'm excited to see people that I know. It's good to see Brian and a couple other folks that I know through my FACS elective. So yes, I attended my first FMEC meeting in New York more than 20 years ago when I was a medical student, and have gone pretty much every year since. It's really a fantastic conference, especially for medical students and residents. It's a great way to get connected. If you're applying a residency, it's a great way to learn about the residency programs and get to speak with different residents. It's also a great opportunity for you in the future, if you're not doing it this year, but to submit to present a poster or a presentation. I joined the board in 2006 and I served on the board for about 7 or 8 years and have loved it. I also started one of the collaborative projects under the FMEC. I started a project called FACS, Fertility Appreciation Collaborative to Teach the Science, and we successfully ran that project for about 12 years through the FMEC. But since the FMEC focuses on the Northeast and FACS has now expanded our educational elective to medical students all over the country, we became our own nonprofit. But we will have a pre-conference at the FMEC, and we do have student scholarships available for that as well. So if any of you are planning on coming in early on Thursday afternoon and you want to learn a little bit more about women's health, reproductive life planning, integrative approaches to fertility, we invite you to register for that. And I'm happy to put a link in the chat box so you can apply for scholarships. I think we have about 7 or 8 left. So we would love to have more students join us. Other key highlights, it's a great opportunity to network, to talk to other students, again, other residents and faculty. I remember I did my family medicine residency at Lancaster General Hospital, and it was at the FMEC meeting where I first caught sight of Dr. Nick Zervanos, who was the residency director at the time. His son, Jim Zervanos, is actually going to be one of the keynote speakers for this year's conference. So that's going to be a huge treat. He's going to talk about his book that he wrote that time I got cancer. So you've picked a great year to come to the FMEC. It may be your first, but I hope it's certainly not your last. I love coming back, and typically I will bring students and residents to do presentations. And I think it was 2 years ago, Scott, I actually brought one of my patients to do a joint presentation on PCOS. I know that was a fun experience. So I am happy to answer any questions, be a resource. I give all the elective students my cell phone number, so happy to share my cell phone number if you're like, I just need to know, where to go for this, or, questions. I'm happy to be there. And my husband, Dr. Kenny Lynn's also a family physician. He'll be doing a workshop on writing in medicine. So yeah, really excited to have all of you here and look forward to meeting you, whether it's one of my talks or you can stop by our FACS booth and learn more about our elective for those of you that are 4th year med students.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Duane. I think it's very typical of doctors like Dr. Duane who, have been around for many years and still just let me know how I can help you. I'll give you my cell phone number. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this meeting is how much support you'll find from all the attendees, how much networking you'll do, and just how you'll leave so energized. Hannah has joined us. There she is. I'm going to put her on the spotlight. Hannah is the medical student member of our FMEC board. So I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourself and talk about your experience at the meeting.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah Clark, and I currently attend school at Jefferson in Philadelphia. So I'm very excited that FMEC annual meeting is in Philly this year. I first went to FMEC after I just had started my M1 year, and it was in Pittsburgh, and I didn't really know much about family medicine, to be honest. I was kind of going in with an open mind, and I was a recipient of one of the student scholarships. And I was like, oh my goodness, family medicine like encapsulates like everything that I care about, which was a really great feeling. And there were so many sessions that even as students were like super engaging. My favorite one I still remember to this day, I talk about it all the time, was a circumcision workshop. And even though I was a student and obviously I will not be doing circumcisions for a minute, they were still like helping me figure it out and figure out how to use the tools. And I felt like the FMEC conference is maybe unique in that people, presenters are very engaging and embracing of student participation. And it's very accessible for us as students. There's always things to learn in the various sessions. And I felt like I was able to learn more about like women's health and learn more about the role of family medicine in emergency medicine, the role of family medicine in more rural areas and more urban areas. It was just really awesome to learn all about it. And obviously, it was interesting enough to me that is now, my hopefully will be my vocation in a couple of years. So yeah, I highly recommend just making the most of your time at the conference. Even if a session, if you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to understand it, like just go anyway. And people are super receptive to questions and stuff too during sessions. And I just feel like in general, it's a very like non-judgmental group of professionals. And yeah, they're just so like glad to have students that are interested in family medicine. And yeah, I highly recommend also like reaching out to one another while you're at the conference. And this year, hopefully I will be able to help create a sense of community among students as well, because it is really great to kind of like go to sessions sometimes in pairs, so you have someone to like debrief with afterwards, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know you could do that in family medicine. Oh my goodness, me neither. So hopefully we'll get a little group going once we're on the ground for this year's conference. But I'm happy to answer any questions via email. I'll put my email in the chat, and I am very not judgmental at all. So whatever you ask, I will hopefully be able to answer or find the answer for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Hannah. And thanks to all three of you for sharing a little bit of your experiences and making it sound fun. I think it is fun. So I'm going to turn it over now. I'm going to start sharing my slides again. And Jennifer and I are going to go through a bunch of details, probably hopefully as fast as we can so that we have time for questions from all of you. But Jennifer, if you want to take it away with what does your scholarship cover?
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We're so excited to see you in Philadelphia. Your scholarship covers FMEC membership for 1 year, your annual meeting registration fee, all conference provided meals and breaks, 2 nights in the hotel, double bedded room shared with another scholarship student, unless you've made special arrangements with me, admittance to the residency fair for both this Friday and Saturday, and all academic programming, one-on-one support from the FMEC coordinator, which is me, and this pre-meeting orientation and Q&A session to help you prepare for the meeting. The meeting this year is at the Philadelphia Marriott on Filbert Street. And if you have any questions, please give me send me an email at jennifer.stamper@fmec.net.
Great. And we'll go over just a few more details, tips, and things to know about in a little bit later. Just want to make sure you all know the schedule, and this is all on the FMEC website if you have a chance to look there. Wednesday and Thursday, it's basically early arrivals and some pre-conferences. I hope some of you are able to join us for those pre-conferences. Most of them are open and of interest to medical students. And then Friday, everything really kicks off, and it kicks off pretty early. You may have medical student colleagues who come in the past, and we didn't start till later in the day Friday, and we went into Sunday. That's the old model for the FMEC meeting, but we've changed it this year for the first time, and everything is all day Friday and all day Saturday. So if you can get there by 9 a.m., that's ideal. That's when the sessions start. If you're traveling that morning and you're going to be a little bit late, we understand, but try and get there as early as possible. The sessions are all morning. There is a opening plenary and awards session at around noon, 12:30 on Friday. More sessions in the afternoon. And then there's an evening plenary with dinner. And then the residency fair on Friday is 7 to 9. Saturday, we kick off early with breakfast discussion tables from 7 to 8. More sessions all morning. The noon hour, 2 hours essentially, is place time where you'll get your lunches. You can go to clinical camp tables for some hands-on demonstration. You can go see the posters, or if you're presenting, you'll be presenting your posters during that break in Saturday afternoon. And then there's another brief educational session, closing plenary in the afternoon, and the last night of the residency fair is 4:45 to 6:45. After 6:45 p.m., the meeting is over. We do not provide dinner on Saturday, but we do provide lunch both days, Friday and Saturday, breakfast both days, Friday and Saturday, and dinner on Friday. But so after 6:45 p.m. on Saturday, you're going to see the town. Just things to familiarize yourself with when you get that, download the app in a week or two, and look at the printed program when you get on site. We do have a number of different formats of educational programs. So some are an hour, everything's in hour blocks. Some programs take up the whole hour. Some are put 2, 3, or 4 to an hour block. So workshops and seminars are an hour. If you go to, for instance, a lecture discussion, there's going to be 3 to put together in an hour session. So just get yourself familiar with those formats to know what you're in for when you sit down. There's also tracks that we've labeled every program with, and you'll get all this in the app and in your printed program. I mentioned the app. In a week or two, we will be emailing out to all of you instructions on how to download the app. The login will be the email address you used for registration. Your password will be FMEC 2024. And once you've got that app on your phone, you'll see everything you need to know about the meeting. I'm sure this group is probably very familiar with using that. We have some of our older physicians who don't really use the app, but they get along fine. So also just want to point out a couple things that we want to make sure you are aware of, and therefore, Friday for our lunch plenary, we have Dr. Margot Savoy from the American Academy of Family Physicians, who's going to speak about physician wellness. Friday evening for our dinner plenary, as Dr. Dwayne mentioned, we have Jim Zervanos, who's the son of Dr. Nick Zervanos, one of the most respected family physicians in the region. He's going to talk about his books and his experience as a cancer patient, and talk about lessons from a patient. And then our Saturday afternoon plenary is Dr. Anita Ravi, who founded the Purple Health Foundation. I think it's in New York City, and it focuses on serving people who've experienced gender-based violence. So it should be a really interesting presentation, and you'll learn about what you can do in that area. I mentioned already, there are 2 residency fair sessions, one Friday evening, 7 to 9, which is after dinner, and one Saturday, 4:45 p.m. to 6:45 p.m., which is after the last plenary and before you're free to go to dinner. We don't do, I know some of the other conferences, the exhibit floor is basically open all the time and the residency programs are there. We want you to go to the educational sessions all day. So we've chunked the residency fair into these two places, and it's just focused. That's the only thing that's happening at that time. And just lastly, if you're presenting a poster, you'll still get some more emails about all this, but if your poster was accepted and you looked at the emails you've gotten and you see which session you're scheduled for on Saturday, you need to set up, if you're in the first group, between 10:30 a.m. and noon on Saturday. This is going to be in the Head House Tower part of the hotel. You'll figure out where that is when you get there. If you're in the first session, you're presenting from 12 to 1:10 p.m. Then there's a short break where you take your poster down and everybody in poster session 2 puts them up, and that's 1:20 to 2:30. Please try and bring your own supplies to put up your poster. The second group of posters needs to tear down pretty quickly after 2:30, but no later than 4. And there's some other details on the screen about the poster presentations. And there will be judging, so we really encourage you to get your poster uploaded into the app before the day of, so that the judges can start to look at it and be familiar with it, and we will send you instructions on how to do that. I think I'm turning it back over to Jen.
Registrations opens at 7 a.m. on Friday, September 20th, but we will have registration tables open in the afternoons, Wednesday and Thursday for early arrivals, Thursday morning, Wednesday afternoon. A detail to know that's important is hotel check-in is at 4 o'clock. But you can check to see if your room is ready early. If you did request housing, you do not have to have a confirmation number from me to check into the hotel. You can simply just go up to the hotel registration and say your name. It'll be in our room, our student room block. So all you need to say is your name and they will find you. A credit card is required to secure any incidentals when you check in, but the lodging, the room and tax are on our master bill. Please be aware that your roommate may not check in until Saturday. Almost all rooms have at least 2 students in them unless there's a last minute cancellation. And if you've secured a private room with me, but typically all rooms do have 2 students in them. If your room is not ready and you're on site ready to go to sessions, the hotel will hold your luggage for you. So do not bring your luggage into the sessions. Just go to the concierge and they'll have a room ready for us to hold your stuff. If you need to have a Thursday night stay, that will be at your cost. Your scholarship only covers hotel for Friday and Saturday night. Also, parking is not covered by your scholarship. Heads up that it's really expensive in Philadelphia, downtown Philadelphia. The Marriott is about $69.50 per day, and it's valet only. You cannot self-park. So I really am encouraging you to please spend some time finding parking before you get to Philadelphia so that you can find something within your budget. The further out you come from the hotel, the cheaper it gets. But if you're willing to walk a little bit, you can save a lot of money, but it is expensive. So please research before you get on site. Dress for the meeting is business casual. Be sure to wear comfortable shoes because you will be doing a lot of walking. Be flexible when you're on site. There are opportunities everywhere to start networking with other physicians from the meeting. Don't be afraid to sit and chat between sessions. These are awesome networking opportunities while you're on site. Students of all years are welcome to attend any session. Sessions that are coded as S are especially for student audiences. The residency fair happens both on Friday evening and Saturday late afternoon. Let's see, we will have a list in the printed program. For the full list of programs, you can visit the conference app, look at the show documents, and I typically will send out who the programs are before you get on site so you can research that and be ready to build your schedule and see who you want to visit in the residency fair. There are door prizes each night for students. Each scholarship student will receive a door prize card for each night of the fair. If you have 5 programs, sign your card during the event. You can drop it in our baskets that we will run around and collect them for chances to win some really great prizes. So
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great. And then which questions should you be asking and how to make the most of your time there? We're not going to go into detail on that, although we're happy to have questions. But we do want to make sure you pay attention to some of the resources that the AFP puts out for medical students. A lot of you are probably already familiar with these, but if not, maybe take a few minutes to review their websites before the meeting. The link is below. And it talks about family medicine, why choose family medicine, what a typical day is like, what the different options are. And it has questions that you might want to prepare yourself for your residency interviews, but also for the residency fair, things to think about when you approach all the booths. And again, as Jen mentioned, you'll get a list of the booths that are going to be there. I think we have 102 this year, so it's a lot. That's a record for us. But we'll have 102 residency programs represented. They'll be organized by state in order, and you might want to make a plan for who you want to hit first, who you definitely want to talk to, but be open to talking to everybody. And so some of the questions that, typical questions they've got up on the AFP site that you might want to read and think about before you show up, just on the screen. And we'll put these slides in this recording on our website if you want to see them after. And just one other resource we want to promote to you at the meeting before we open it up for questions. Rosh Review, which I think is transitioning to the company named Blueprint, but Rosh Review is one of our sponsors and partners from the FMEC, and they will be offering the Family Medicine Shelf Q Bank bundle for free at their booth. So make sure you visit their booth as a medical student. You can sign up on site and get access to those questions to help you learn. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Jen, and then we're going to open it up for questions.
What should you do on site if you have questions or problems? Please come to our desk on level 3. We're going to be in the foyer space, level 3 of the hotel. Come see us. We'll do whatever we can to help you out. After the meeting, you will be asked to write up your experience to share with our donors. You will receive an email directly from me saying you were sponsored by this person or this organization, and we would like for you to send them an email directly saying what the conference meant to you and thank them for your sponsorship. And how can you stay connected with us? Connect with your FMIG at your school and join the AAFP as a student member. And we're really looking forward to seeing you guys. So let us know if you have any questions.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now, and would love to have some questions. I'll try and read the chat now, but if you want to unmute and ask a question, go ahead. I see, or are the programs at the fair organized alphabetically or by state? I think I might have mentioned this already, but they're organized in state order. So I think that starts for us with Connecticut. And then within that, they're alphabetical. So yes, state first, and then within each state, the programs are alphabetical. Other questions, comments?
Scott, I have a question. I'd be curious for the students, how many of them it's their first time to the conference? I don't know if they can raise their hands. It'd be curious, good to know.
Yeah, that's a great question. If it's going to be your first time, I think it's going to be most of the hands. We don't have too many students who come. Jen can confirm this, but we don't have too many students who come more than once.
Awesome. Well, I would say that it is a very friendly first time meeting for students. So I think you'll all really enjoy it. Love that, Hannah.
Yeah, that's great. And well, we know how busy you all are and probably tired from school, so we wanted to keep this short. We'll end up in just a minute. I see another question in the chat. Yes. So yes, all hotel rooms for scholarship students this year are at the Marriott, which is the main hotel. Occasionally in the past, we've had little groups of rooms at other hotels, but this year everything is at the Marriott.
And Jennifer, are there specific outside parking places that the FMEC recommends?
I will send out details to the students. I did get a PDF from the Marriott saying here are some lots around the hotel. And then I even looked out further, and they're cheaper if you go out a little further. So yeah, I will put that all in a PDF and share that with all of the students, and I can send that directly to you too for your students.
That would be great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I see a question about the poster size. The poster boards that we've rented, the big rolling things, are 4 feet by 8 feet. So whatever fits on that. I think there's standard templates for posters, presentations, but if it's under 4 by 8, it should fit. Oh, I see a question. Are the residency programs at both nights, or do they change? It's the same 102 programs both nights. We know you can't possibly talk to them all in 2 hours. So there's the same group Friday night and the same group Saturday night. Okay, I see a good question. Yes, please arrive Friday morning as early as you can. If anything you've received said that the meeting starts at 12:30 p.m., that's just from last year. That's a holdover that we didn't catch, because we used to start Friday at 12:30. Now the meeting starts at 9 a.m. So we know you don't have a hotel room for Thursday night because we're giving it to you for Friday and Saturday. But if you can get there as early as possible Friday, you won't miss those morning sessions.
Scott, I just want to remind students, I think the deadline for our scholarships is September 1st. So I put the link in there. If you are able to come on Thursday, we would love it, especially if you're local. But if you can, go ahead and click on the SurveyMonkey link to apply for scholarships. That is separate from the FMEC, but we do have at least a half dozen left and would love to
Yeah.
have students participate.
And I see Jennifer put a link to the poster specifications in the chat. So if you're presenting a poster, please look at that. And I think, as I mentioned, we'll be sending something else to poster presenters soon. I see a question about registering each day, or we can just register on Friday morning. So if you're receiving a scholarship, you've been registered for the meeting, and all you need to do when you arrive, hopefully Friday morning, but as soon as you arrive, go to the 3rd floor registration desk, get your bag, get your badge, and you're done. You don't need to check in there again once you've got your badge. If you are not a scholarship student and you're on this call, which is great, we love that you're learning about FMEC, then you need to either register yourself for the meeting or reach out to me and Jennifer, and we'll advise you about whether a scholarship is available. I think most of the people who got the invite for this are already on a scholarship and registered for the meeting. And Jen, maybe you can help me answer this question. If people show up on Friday, and of course they can't check in until 4, what are we advising that they do with their luggage?
So the hotel will have a place to store luggage until the rooms are open. Absolutely. And I will make sure I send out details on that. There's always a room available, and I checked with Melissa Bluestein at the Marriott that they will have a space designated just for our attendees. And they do standardize it and say 4 o'clock, but rooms a lot of times are ready before 4. So please ask and check and see if your room is ready. And if not, you can stow your luggage until it is.
Great. I see some hands up. I think that might still be from the first timers question, but if anybody does have a question and they want to unmute themselves, please go ahead.
Also, someone asked where should they register if they come later on Friday? We will have people at the registration desk on the 3rd floor probably until about 7 o'clock. If you're going to be later than 7, please send me an email and I will make sure that I know you're coming later into your room. But you can pick up your name badge Saturday morning if you get there after we've closed up the desk.
Yeah, and I see a question about, people traveling in on Friday morning and not able to get there right when we start programs at 9, and is that okay? Yeah, that's fine, and we're used to that. We know you all students, you've got classes, you're busy, you're coming from all around the region, so typically students have shown up throughout the day on Friday. You'll just miss some educational programs, and we're sorry about that, but you can dive in as soon as you get there. But if you can get there early Friday, that's best.